What's happening, everybody, and welcome back to Park Lane Podcast, episode number 64. It's me, Luke, as always, and joined today by my co-host and fellow FIFA streamer. It's Winnie. Winnie, how you doing, mate? You good?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Much like Spurs, it appears that we're having some sort of injury crisis at the moment with the team. So,
Mate, I want to talk about that, actually, before we do anything else, because Big Dave decided he was going to big it up all week on social media about his return, like he was like the Undertaker or something,
and then he
and
bottled it.
bottled it again.
Then he had a full-on Arsenal bottle and just bottled it.
Mate, what is going on here? But yeah,
The show must go on, mate. The show must go on.
exactly, mate. You can always trust us to give you good quality content. So if you are new to the channel, don't forget to hit subscribe. Don't forget to like the video as well. And if you're listening on any kind of podcast platform, don't forget to leave a 5-star review. And we do see you all out there. At the moment, most people are listening on Apple Music, so big up to all of you. The Spotify users need to get their life in order because you're getting battered by Apple Music at the moment. Let's have a quick shout out to some of the people in the live chat. So Jay, as always, half an hour before we started, has said,
Love that. That's a new tradition, isn't it?
Lads, what a win. Coys, all caught up with the EA Sports FC streams, really enjoying them. Look forward to the next one. Fell asleep on episode 3, so caught up with it today.
Is that a reflection on our stream, or did you fall asleep before it?
Must have been live. We weren't even on that late anyway.
Brilliant, nice one.
2-hour streams, clearly too much, and our football is clearly that bad that you fell asleep. He's also said scored 47 points with bonus still to be added on FPL.
Oh, don't talk to me about FPL.
And David Clark has said, hi from Leicester. I need to go out for the day more often and we might win more games.
Make sure you go out on Friday, please, David.
Exactly that. Let's get the shit out of the way, right? Let's get like all this nonsense out of the way and get West Ham done, and then we can focus on today's battering of Newcastle. Okay. So on Thursday night, we played West Ham at home. We lost 2-1. So do you know what? I'm going to get the scores out of the way and get all that done. So in that game, in the score predictor table, Callum predicted a 2-1 Spurs win. Dave a 2-0 Spurs win. You a 2-1 Spurs win. Yeah. Harry a 3-1 Spurs win. And me a 1-0 Spurs win. So we all got absolutely 0 points. So it means nothing to the score predictor table. And so that's why I wanted to just get that bit out of the way. But I want to talk about the lineup of the West Ham game to start off with, because after Højbjerg came on at half-time against Man City, Ange decided to start Højbjerg in midfield for Bryan Hill. And obviously Romero came in for Emerson Royale. Yeah. When you were looking at that before the game started, do you think that was a good choice from Ange?
I didn't. I did, and I didn't, and I mean that because obviously Højbjerg, you can only go on what you've seen. Obviously form is temporary, class is permanent. As a kind, that's the analogy that you kind of always allude to. But if you look at it, I mean, Højbjerg came on against Man City and did a very, very good job. And I'm not his biggest fan, but I'm someone who will sit here and I will give credit where it's due. He did fantastic, and he did exactly what we needed him to do against Man City. So therefore, he was rewarded with a start. I think Ange soon realised that he made a big error because he stunk the place out, Højbjerg. And I don't know if maybe he is a player that should come off the bench, and that's all that he can do for us to try and shore games out. But this system just does not suit him, and that's not no discredit to him. What he does and what he offers as a player may suit a different system, but it does not suit ours at all. And unfortunately, we found that out against West Ham because he was dog shit.
There's no other way to and that's it. I think his entire performance was epitomised by that incredible swipe of his foot, missed the ball, took his other foot out. It's going to be, gone down in gifs for memes for forever.
It's still flying around Twitter now as a meme. It really is.
Yeah, it's crazy because, as you say, why should Ange not start Højbjerg? Because, as you say, he came off the bench. He did a great job against City. I'll give him that. We do give him a lot of shit. But, he just was terrible. He was absolutely awful. he couldn't string 2 passes together. He could barely get a good touch. He's always backwards. As you say, he just does not suit this system.
Do you know what I think it is? Ange's system requires very quick thinking. You need to know where that ball's going to go before you even receive it, because the whole idea of it is to try and beat the press. So, the opposition, they're not going to stop pressing you to give you time to think about what to do. Whereas it would do in a Conte system, because we will sit that deep, where Højbjerg may as well be sitting on the edge of his own box. He's got loads of time to think about what to do. Whereas Ange ball is rapid. It's so quick that you need to know what you're going to do. And unfortunately, that's not his game. His brain doesn't think that quick. He's obviously a great footballer for to his level, but like I've just alluded to before, he's not quick enough, and he's not fast thinking enough for this system.
Yeah, definitely. Let's go through some comments quickly, because Dave Clark has said West Ham lost 5-0 away to Fulham today. That's how good West Ham.
Spot on. Yeah.
Jay said, where's Harry, Callum, and Dave? Well, your guess is as good as mine. No, Harry's not very well. Callum's away, and Dave is apparently also not very well. But you know what Dave's like. He hasn't been on here for months, so who knows? I might as well get my shots in, everyone. Why not?
I don't blame you. He bigged it up all day, didn't it? All week. He's back with that lovely little, whatever that little video was, with someone walking past the screen, and then just bottled it today. But look, it's fine. If he's ill, he's ill. He can't help it.
Yeah, exactly. Dave Clark's also said Porro was fantastic today. That pass with the Richarlison goal was a Kane or Hoddle quality pass. And Sarr playing makes Basuma play better.
100%.
Anyway, we will crack on with Newcastle in a minute, but let's get through talking points from West Ham. So West Ham, we started quite well, and without reaping the wrath of Ange Postecoglou by saying this, we played quite good football in the first half. Like, we played nice, intricate passing. It was quick, it was fast, and Kuti got with his first start back after his red card, scored with a really nice header from a corner. The first half, apart from us failing to score more, I was sitting there going, do you know what? We've done well. It's decent.
Mate, it was obviously we're gonna get on today, but I thought it was very similar to today. Like, I genuinely thought we blew West Ham away in the first half. It was literally like watching what you'd imagine an FA Cup tie with a Premier League side and like a League 1-2 side. Not saying that's what West Ham are, but that's what it looked like during that first half. We were literally blown up. They couldn't keep up with us.
Yeah.
And like you say, Kuti come straight back into the side, and what a header it was. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a header as good as that in a very long time, because he had it all to do. I think the closest I saw to that was Vertonghen away at Wolves that one time in the pissing down rain. It was very similar to that. Vertonghen had a lot to do there, and so did Kuti. And to his credit, he planted it in the top corner. But as you say, look, the football was brilliant, and I don't want to be too optimistic, but I mean, against Villa, we were the better side again, from my opinion, in the first half. Man City, large periods of that, we were the better side. And I know that's our first. Today was our first win in 5 games, but I'd go as far as back as possibly Wolves away. It was the last time we actually deserved to lose a game, and that's, again, these are just my opinions, but I think that was the last time we were genuinely outplayed, was Wolves away. The fixtures before, although the result hasn't been good, and I think that's why Spurs fans are still getting on the Ange train, is because the football has been what we expect, and it's been really, really good. It's just been lapses of concentration, and I mean, I'm sure we're going to get onto the West Ham goals, but fuck me, if you're going to get any flukier, the 2 goals, and I mean that, any flukier, what I mean? If they don't happen, we win that game. So it is what it is.
But I do love that. Like, I did feel sorry for that. I can't even remember his name, but that fella on Spurs Play or whatever, who always does the interviews with everyone, got absolutely roasted by Ange, didn't he? Because Ange was not happy when he told him that, we played good football, and he basically
well, exactly,
well, we don't like, playing good football is winning games. Like, playing good football is not playing nice football. And I do love that about him. But I did feel sorry for that fella, because he obviously got the back end of a very angry Ange Postecoglou. But David Clark said here, when you have 742 passes in the game, you expect to score more goals than just a header from a corner. And that's exactly it.
we were poor, like our finishing, and I think what I'll make a comparison later when we talk about the Newcastle game, but the big difference was is our wingers, although I like them, it appeared that we were just getting to the final third, and they don't really know what to do with it. And I think that was the problem as well against West Ham, is because of the change in midfield, it pushed Kulu out to the right again, didn't it?
Yeah.
And look, there were loads of people, so many people were calling for Decky to go into the the number 10 role, and I was the first one to go, look, I just don't think that's a move, but I don't see him anything other than a 10 now for me. I genuinely don't think he's a winger. And that was the problem against West Ham. We would get the ball, Johnson and Kulu, in the final third, and their final ball was just crap.
Yeah, definitely. But we do have a secret special guest dropped by. So Callum, introducing you. How you doing, mate?
Hey, boys. Oh shit! There we go. Pop the iPad. You all okay?
Yeah, all good, mate. All the better for seeing you.
Bloody hell! What a game! What a game, boys!
I know you don't have long, so I want to ask you a couple of quick questions. So first one, we'll continue talking about West Ham. Me and Winnie will go back into it when you're gone. But what are your thoughts, kind of pre-match, half-time, and then post-match against West Ham?
Pre-match, I thought, yeah, come on, let's go at them, sort of thing. Go and get something, because we've been strong at home. We had to keep going. Half-time, I felt quite confident because I thought we actually played really well. I mean, the problem was it's what we alluded to last week against Aston Villa, saying that we needed a striker, someone who could actually put chances away. And what must we have had? About 12 chances in that first half. We couldn't bloody do it. We couldn't do it. And then post-match, I thought, here we go again. We're back pissed off. We'd had a bit of a high after Man City, and we was then going into probably the tougher of the two games in Newcastle, was my initial thoughts, to be honest.
No, yeah, exactly, mate. And do you know what? Like, this is never how I feel, but like, I was angry after the West Ham game, like really angry. And it was mainly because like of how much we dominated. And then it felt like the more the game went on, the more we kind of fell back into that Conte style. You know, everyone was too lackluster with their passing. Like, it was just passing across the box, back across the box. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's all good, like David said before, having 742 passes in the game. But if you don't stick the ball in the back of the net, like, it's all worthless, right?
Oh, exactly. If you can play tick-a-tack around your own box. I mean, we was our own worst nightmares against West Ham, to be honest, because both goals were our own bloody fault. If they were good goals, like what Aston Villa scored against us with was it the Diaby and Pau Torres header? Not really a defensive error. Good goal.
Yeah.
Both of them from our side, or with the West Ham game, they were both defensive mistakes.
Yeah.
Udogie had a quality game, but then had a moment of madness. And then the other one was it's just petty sloppiness and all that. And we played ourselves into trouble. And West Ham, being as fickle as they are, they actually screwed us over for it big time. And we deserved it. We deserved nothing from that game in the end. And I think we've got to get into that reality, saying we can play nice, but unless we score and do the work for ourselves, we deserve nothing from these games, no matter what, mate. And anyone who tells you that we deserve something, or all the pundits that are blowing smoke up Big Angie's arse, it's like he said this week, you can play nice football, but I'm not here to play nice football. I'm here to play good football to win games. Simple as that. And that's why they was all so frustrated after West Ham.
Yeah, 100%. Let's talk about that first West Ham goal, Winnie, because that one is the first of two absolute comical errors. So this, the ball is kind of rolling towards the kind of back four, takes a double deflection off both Kuti and then Ben Davis, and it just so happens that Jarrod Bowen is still about 10 miles offside, and all he's got to do is slot it in. Like, it's mental.
So that's what I'm saying to you, and that's why I said before, just before Callum popped on, obviously, there were two avoidable goals, and when I mean avoidable, I mean I'll look at the first goal and I think that's nothing like, I don't think that's not a Tottenham error. That is purely just a shot that's ricocheted twice, in straight into the path of Bowen, who still had to put it away. Do you know what I mean? It's not as if he had to tap it into an empty net. He still had to put it away, and he put it away well. So look, that happens. You probably see that once every 3 or 4 weeks in the Premier League and stuff like that. It doesn't happen all the time. It's just a double ricochet. It's just unfortunate, and it's just at the time it was just the way our luck was going.
Yeah. And then the second one was, two big errors, I think, from Spurs players. Not to mention then the luck that West Ham got. So the first one is obviously the Edozie back pass. Then Vicario comes doing some kind of Superman dive out to the edge of his box when he could have just caught the ball. James Ward-Prowse hits the post. He just happens to carry on running and just tap it in with his other foot. Like, it's absolutely mental. Like, as you say, any other time that ball hits the post, it goes elsewhere. The keeper comes and he gets it. Edozie cuts back on himself, plays the ball out. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's so many things that could have happened. But it was just one of those games where, like, as you say, you don't take your chances. Yes, you can play nice football, but then, we can't do anything after that. We could talk all day long about Andy's substitutions as well. I thought they were really, really poor against West Ham. I think that, him taking various players off, bringing Oliver Skip on at one point, bringing Valise on kind of late on. I think he was just trying to lump the ball in the box at that point. Like, just absolute madness, Winnie, the last bit in that game, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think we talk about, well, you had just talked about Angie's his subs. That was probably the first time where I looked at it and thought, I don't agree with that. I've agreed with all of his subs, but yeah, is that like taking Lo Celso off didn't make any sense to me, because he was influential going forward, and it's almost as if he, like you said, it was almost as if we alluded back to Conte ball, and you look at it, it's because we had no forward-thinking players on the pitch. Obviously, Basuma and Højbjerg in there. It was just, there was nothing progressive. So taking Gio off was just mental. Bringing Skip on, so it was like Basuma, Skip, and Højbjerg. That's not an Ange type midfield for me. If you wanted to bring Gio off, then put Decky into the middle. Do you know what I mean? And keep that creativity. So it was the first time I looked at it and gone, probably don't agree with you there, mate. But look, I'm not paid all that money to do it, but he thought that was the right choice, rightly or wrongly. It turned out to be, it was the wrong choice, really.
Definitely. And Callum, I can see you getting ready to go out. So give me really briefly before you go your thoughts on today's 4-1 win over Newcastle.
Well, I've got 10 minutes, so I'm not too bad, mate. So I'm not too bad. But yeah, today was great. The one negative I have about it is still, why did we have to give them that poxy goal right at the end? Why did we have to do that? We should, if we're going to win a game this great, then you got to make it worthwhile. And like Dave said, you can't be doing no-look passes. You can't be doing all the tipper-tapper like a freaking dancer and all that bollocks when Newcastle were down and out by 70th minute and all that. And the fact that we've allowed them back in 90+2, and of all the players to be involved in the goal, at least, of Callum Wilson, I know he only got an assist, but for him to be involved, and after all the crap that he's given us for the last couple of years, could we have not just have taken him down a level and all that and stopped him being...
Romero tried to, I think.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean, mate. Like, and I was sat there watching the game, and I was actually sat with a Newcastle fan, and I was like, when they scored, I was like, at this moment, like, Andy's going to be absolutely livid, right? Because he's going to be livid because we played well, we dominated, we pushed on, we scored the goals we needed to score, but there was still too many chances for my liking. There was that early one where Ben Davies, brilliant last-ditch kind of touch that sent the ball off Isak from him being able to score. There's obviously the errors that led up to the Newcastle goal that they did actually score. And there's too many little errors coming in. Do you know what I mean? Like, you need to really keep strong and keep going. But, I'm going to keep using these excuses while they're still there. And look, this still isn't our first 11. This still is an injury-ridden side. And we've never seen our best midfield, which for me would be Basuma, Bentancur, and James Maddison. And so, there is still a lot to do. Still missing our best centre-back. And we don't have a striker, and we sold our best ever player. So,
or do we have a striker?
Huh?
Or do we have a striker?
Or do we? Exactly. So we might as well move on. We're going well away from my notes, but we might as well just keep flowing, keep going with the flow. What were both your thoughts on Richie today? Because when I saw that lineup, I thought, well, yeah, he's going to play on the left. Son will play through the middle. But it wasn't that way, was it? Son played wide, and he gave Trippier a really, really hard day, wasn't he?
Yeah. Look, I mean, we're talking about someone who has a lot of confidence. For what he lacks in ability, he is a very, very confident player. And I think, I'm not being funny, but I think that's just South Americans in general. They seem to just exude this confidence for wherever it comes from. Maybe it's just ingrained in them. But look, he's someone who we've talked about on this pod numerous times, whether it be good or bad. And I know obviously H will be buzzing today because he's a huge, huge advocate for Richarlison. But we've got to give him credit today. It seems that this operation that he had, he obviously needed it because to me, he does seem like a completely different player. He was always someone who looked like he wanted to try and chase down a player. But I mean, his energy today was incredible. He was chasing, I remember him at one point chasing the keeper down. He passed it to the centre back. He chased the centre back down. They passed it to the right back. He chased the right back down and blocked a clearance, and they ended up with a throw in right in their corner. And that's the kind of shit that you want. And that's what he was just lacking. What he was lacking was the finishing. But, I'm not going to say his finishing was incredible today because there weren't really difficult chances. And his second goal, I would say it was a very poor touch in the first place that took him that wide, but he still had the confidence to take it on his left foot and sweep underneath the goalkeeper. So do you know what? I thought he was good. I thought he was very good today.
Yeah, do you know what? I'll give him some credit. I thought he worked hard today. I think you're right. I think he looks fresher since he's back a lot quicker than I thought he was going to be. Actually, I thought that he looked fresher. He's still not it for me. Even that, I think against a better goalkeeper, that second goal that he scores, I think that touch lets him down. I don't think he ends up scoring. But as you say, he has scored twice today. He scored two with his feet, which is probably I think his first two that he scored for us with his feet.
Yeah.
And so I've got to give him that. Fair play to him. It was a really good call from Ange. And it was really interesting to see that lineup of Brennan Johnson, Richarlison, Son, and Kulusevski starting, Callum.
Yeah, exactly, mate. Exactly. I think, like what you guys said, Richie was like the Dulux bunny running around. He'd had batteries rammed inside him for today, and he just didn't stop running, and he definitely kept going. I'm always going to be very levelled with Richie. I thought, yeah, it's good that he scored his goals, but he had about another 3 or 4 chances in that game that were probably easier to score than the ones that he actually did score today. So he's very much going to deceive opinion. But when you think about that front four, there's so much energy in there with Son. Winnie, you backtracked on thinking that Sonny was a striker and he's gone more to a converted winger, which is great because it means that we've got Sonny as an option to do that because he can do it. But we can't always then forget that we are playing against Kieran Trippier, who was never the quickest fullback for us either. He's not the most technically gifted, but he is a good player. So, yeah, it's great to have Sonny there. Johnson was running around like always, really trying his best, but I don't think he's anywhere near the final product. But Kulu, I thought, looked bloody on one today. I mean, since Paqueta broke his nose in the week, he looked like he reminded me of when Kane played against Arsenal with that mask on. He was just on everything.
He looked possessed
for a fight. He just wanted to kill everyone, and it was so
he looked
good.
Possessed, honestly.
I mean, their masks do look scary, to be honest. In the first place, it's like Hannibal Lecter masks.
Oh, I call it the Zorro mask. Well, but
Well, yeah, Zorro's nice about it. He looked like he wanted to murder someone. So, I mean, definitely he was on one. But no, there was definitely a lot of flicks, tricks, creativity in there. There was decent goal scoring ability. I mean, obviously, though, there's still more goals to be scored. And when you think it's only Richie out of them four that have scored today, and then only Son that's been involved in the assists, because Brennan had a couple of shots today which were wayward or post bound. I mean, there was that one that he hit the post with, but I don't know whether that was a cross or not.
If it was a cross, I saw them talk about this on Sky Sports. If it was a cross, then it was the worst cross I've ever seen, because there was no one in that spot that he would have been, as in, like, aiming for. So
I think the way he struck the ball, I think that was a shot. You could see that he kind of got his laces behind it, kind of thing. But it was a good effort.
And the problem is, when you look at how many times we've hit epoxy woodwork over the last 6 weeks, I bet 10 times, 12 times, I think now there must have been at least 2 or 3 today with it. So, yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. But I thought, yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they do go, especially if Maddison comes back into it as well. And obviously, Ange did say in the redacted press conference this week that he would be interested in a striker coming in. So whether it's January or whether it's summer, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, definitely, mate. But I will let you go because I know it's now 7:30. But I really appreciate you coming on. I'm sure everybody else does. Let the people know where they can find you.
As always, mate, at Callum Stubbs 97. Yeah, I am in another country at the moment, so I am from a hotel room somewhere. Not going to share my location until next week. If it's a nice holiday, I'll let you know. If not, then I'll say it's dingy and horrible.
And a quick one for you, Callum, because next week Callum will be hosting Part Lane Podcast, making his debut as the host. So I won't be here. So good luck for that, and I'm sure you'll smash it, mate.
Thank you, mate. Thank you very much. I will give you my prediction as well for this Friday night.
1 second. I'm not ready.
What a surprise, as always. We have heard that from other sources about you in other walks of life.
Yeah.
Oh, love you, mate. Love you. We will go for a 2-1 Spurs win. 2-1
Spurs win.
Interesting.
Okay, perfect. And just to keep you updated, you got 0 points this week, mate, on the 2 games that we played.
Wonderful stuff, as always. And God knows what our FPL went, but hey ho, we'll see next weekend. So I'll see everyone next weekend. And boys, have a good one and have fun.
Have a good evening, mate.
Bye.
Bye. Brilliant. That was a nice sort of treat for us all.
Me too.
I know, yeah. I want to come to this. Good evening, Johnny. Not so easy anymore, is it? But, I'm not the type of person to sit here and laugh at others' failures.
No.
We'll just say good evening to you, and that's all that needs to be said. Quickly on Richarlison, David Clark says Richarlison's movement is far better than his ball control because his second goal was a good finish through the keeper's legs, but his first touch was like a drunk Sunday morning striker.
You know what? That's a great point, is because people, I just want to quickly allude back to just before West Ham got their second goal was that Richarlison header. Now, people look, I play football myself. I'm a striker. I'm not prolific, but I'm a striker, so I know what it takes to try and score goals. That header, mate, it was not easy. He was backtracking. He had to jump and try and head it. But what was just pointed out there was his movement. Now, his movement was that good that he even made that header an opportunity, because any normal striker, if you look at Richarlison, he's kind of made a feint forward and then pulled away from his defender. So that's why he was on his own. His movement there was fantastic, but even still, he didn't have enough movement backwards to be able to get a clean header on the ball. He was always stretching. But that's a good point. His movement is good.
Yeah, I said this actually a few weeks ago on this channel and on Holly's Hotspurs. I said that Richarlison has the worst touch of any Brazilian footballer that's ever lived.
That's probably true.
And only because we look at Brazilian football, right? And you look at the first thing you think about is first touch and control.
Like ball control in general
Yeah.
is normally pretty good.
Exactly. And then you look at Richarlison, who's got awful ball control. But then, as you say, he has a striker instinct, right?
I don't know. Do you remember Paulinho? He wasn't exactly fantastic.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. But, if we go, I'll rephrase that. The worst of any Brazilian striker. Because
don't get me wrong. I still think Richarlison's touch is worse than Paulinho, but I'm just saying, don't forget Paulinho because he was a bit dog shit as well. We thought, oh my god, we've signed this Brazilian, he's going to be amazing, and then we ended up with Paulinho. He weren't amazing. He was okay.
Exactly. Yeah. Anyway, quickly, just want to shout out to everybody in the chat. Keep your comments coming in, and if you're new, I see lots of viewers going up and down. So if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. It's free to do so. It's easy. Make sure you're liking the video as well. Shout out to a couple of people in the chat. So Barney is in the house saying, good evening, lads. Late to the show as I was at Craven Cottage. Offering my support as always. Great win for Spurs. Mate, what a win for Fulham today. It's 2 5-0 wins back
That's
to back.
Ridiculous. And they obviously only narrowly lost to Liverpool the game before that as well, 4-3.
Yeah. So what's that, 13 goals in 3 games?
Yeah, they do. They look very good at the minute, Fulham.
Yeah, definitely. Johnny has said, yes, the guy gave us a good evening to all of us, mate, Spurs and Arsenal together. And that's pretty much all the chat.
Johnny's not sticking around. Have you noticed he doesn't stick around when we win, only when we lose?
Oh, is he?
Yeah, look.
Johnny, that is absolutely horrific. I cannot believe it.
To his credit, thank you for still stopping by. We do appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for stopping by, but, you can do one now. To be fair, Johnny, you were there for our FIFA stream the other night.
I know, yeah. Keep going. We appreciate your support, mate.
Let's go through some of the goals from today's game.
Yes.
Again, we started really, really well, but I started to have a feeling that it wasn't going to go so well towards the end. But let's talk about the first. Let's talk about the first kind of 5 minutes. We flew out the blocks in the first 5 minutes. Again, some of the passing today and the touches was absolutely unreal. Just, I saw it a lot. It was like kind of the doggy inside to Kulusevski, who would then like flick it off to Son or off to whoever was running forward from there, even back to a doggy. I felt like the intricacy of passing and how good team cohesion is this early on in the season of this team is absolutely sensational.
Mate, we genuinely looked. I said this to my dad actually because I spoke to my dad just after the game briefly before we came on here, and I said, look, it's some of the best football I think I've seen Spurs play, and obviously I'm 32 this year, so I've seen quite a lot of Spurs, and I've seen the Pochettino era and we looked good, but I think this football is miles better than what it was under Pochettino. I think Pochettino, we had the cohesion, but I think we also have that now. And I think the cohesion was what got us through. And we had a few unreal players under Pochettino. We had the Dele, the resurgence of Dele. We had Kane. We had all this. But I think, the football we played today and what we're playing at the minute, because it was still the same against West Ham first half. But it just seemed to come off a lot more today. Like you say, the little tricks. And what I alluded to before, why Højbjerg doesn't fit in this system is because those little tricks, they're not just luck. They know where the player's going to be and they know where to pass it off before they've even received the ball. And that's the difference. And like you say today, it was the football was insane. It was so good to watch. And I'm going to be completely honest. Like my dad's got a season ticket. I live in Staffordshire, so I live like 3 hours away from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So I get down whenever I can. My dad goes down every home game, and he also lives in Staffordshire. So, but under the Conte and the Mourinho era, there's been times where I've gone, oh, it's on the telly, it's on Sky at 4:30, but I think I'm just going to go shopping instead and just catch up with the result later. And that's what it's been like. But this, honestly, I'm starting to look forward to watching Spurs again, and I haven't felt like that in so long. I'm literally like today. I was buzzing. I was made sure I was ready, and I was sat down for kickoff. And I haven't had that for a very long time. So the football we're playing, and it's literally it's Ange ball at its finest, and it's only going to get better because we're like six months into our new transition. So it's only going to get better.
Yeah, definitely. David Clark said, "I've watched Spurs since I was 6 in 1961. So I've seen some great football, but I agree that it's the best football since Harry Redknapp."
Yeah, good. I'm glad someone agrees.
You know, I'm not going to sit here and tell you all that I was right, because that wouldn't be, the kind of.
You want to, though, don't you?
Yeah, no. But what I will say is, I did say at the very start of the season that this would be a rocky road, and we would get beat in some games, and that we would get beat hard in some games. You know, living in Scotland and being next door and friends of people, a lot of Celtic fans. Like, I was actually outside the front of my house in the summer talking to a neighbour because he saw I had a Spurs shirt on, and he was chatting to me about Ange. And that's one of the things that we discussed. Like, it will be a rocky road, but the football you'll see will be absolutely insane. And I'm just glad that people are now, even when we were losing against West Ham, people were still saying Ange Postecoglou's name, which is incredible, really. But let's talk about the first goal. So the first goal, a doggy scored finally, and just a great cross from Son Heung-min into the right place, and that's what you get when you have a left back that decides to sometimes play as a striker.
Look, that's Ange ball. We're going to look at the positions that Porro and Udogie get in, or Udogie. Can we just clarify? How do you say it?
Is I say Udogie, but like the commentators call him Udogie.
Okay, well, I think it's Udogie, so I'm going to stick with Udogie. But yeah, that's and those people who said at the start of the season that Porro and Udogie couldn't play in the same system, how stupid do they look? Because honestly, they're probably our two most influential players in this system. Because as you see, they're picking spaces, they're finding the ball anywhere. But what I want to say about that first goal, and I was completely wrong. I'll hold my hands up again. Because I said on the pod previously that, and it got picked apart when I said it. Son needs to be a striker because he his ability to beat a player one-on-one is not what it used to be. His best asset is finishing. But look, I was wrong. Today was a stark contrast in between the West Ham game and the Newcastle game, because we, like I alluded to before, the West Ham game, our wingers were getting into the final third. And their decision making was poor. They didn't know where to put the ball, whether it was across the 6-yard box, whether it was to cut it back. But today, Son's first thought was to just absolutely embarrass Kieran Trippier and also get a very lovely little cutback. Hang on, that was the. Oh yeah, no, it was a little cutback to or cut across the box into Udogie, who was there to tap it into an empty net. And like you say, he started that move in the middle of the park and ended up putting it away. So it just shows the movement and the fluidity that we've got, in our system.
Yeah, definitely. And then, we move on to the second goal, go 2-0 up, and Son again. Like, I thought Trippier had a good game, actually. Like, I felt like that was a really good match between Son and Trippier. But the second goal, Son's feet were just far too quick for Kieran Trippier. On a different day, Son would have maybe, missed that little step over, but he pulls it off fantastically, and then he just passes it into the open space for Richarlison, who again is pretty much stood in the same spot, and it was nice to see him score, to be honest.
Oh mate, I don't want to see any Spurs player fail. Obviously, because it's to the detriment of Tottenham and to myself, because I'm a Spurs fan, so I'm going to be disappointed and unhappy as well. But I really, really want to see it work for Richarlison, because he was a lot of money. I don't really care about that because it's not my money. But still, the price tag always has an effect on some of the players. So look, he works hard, and today he got his rewards because he was in a position. And again, it's his movement to be in that position. But it also takes the winger to be able to find him. And luckily, we had Son who found Richarlison, and I'm not going to say it was a difficult finish, but he almost had to cut it across into the far corner. So it was still, it was, he had to think fast because Sonny kind of cut it back to him at some pace. So he put it away well. But he should be, because he's a Premier League striker. I mean, I'd like to think I'd hit the target at least. I'd like to think.
And then, second half started, and Newcastle decided to have more passes in the attacking third than they did in the first 5 minutes of that second half, and they did in the entire first half. And I started to get a little bit worried, thinking they might get back into the game. But Porro, with an absolutely incredible floated ball over the top to Richarlison, as we've alluded on before. Poor touch, but he manages to get his second touch away from the keeper and then slot the ball into the back of the net. And you're thinking, we could be on for a Richarlison hat-trick here.
I must admit, I wasn't thinking that at the time. I was kind of hoping he would, but I mean, look, can I just point out Pedro Porro has been absolutely sensational for probably the last, I'd say this season, but more so the last month. He seems to have just stepped up incredibly. He just looks. I always knew that there was a player in there. I think it was just you can't expect a player to move country, move team, and start and hit the ground running. And we saw flashes of it. But at the minute, he's come on leaps and bounds, and he looks like, for me, it's just a shame that Trent's playing well currently, because I'd put him as the best right back in the league. But obviously, like I say, Trent's also playing well at the moment. But for us, he's been incredible. And like you say, that ball, and I think that's probably his best asset, because he's got a lot of good assets, but his best one is his ability to pick out a pass. And it's not the first time that he's done this. He always does it. I mean, his ball through to, I think it was against, I can't remember who it was against, might have been Villa. He dinked a ball over the top to Udogie, who we, it was the first chance we had against Villa about 2 minutes in. So he's got the ability to do it. And luckily, this system, you can't really do a lot from right back. But in this system,
the same pass against Burnley as well, if I remember rightly, to Son.
Possibly, yeah, he does. Yeah, he does, and that's the ability he has. But like I say, as a right back, you if you have that ability, you don't get to show it as much. But in this system, because they're so fluid, and he most of the time he plays as a centre midfielder, he has the opportunity to showcase what he can do. So yeah, tremendous ball, but absolute dog shit first touch, but he still put it away. So
yeah, definitely. And I think Emerson Royal doesn't get back into that right back slot unless something bad happens to Pedro Porro.
No chance, nowhere near it.
Fair play to Emerson Royal though. Like this season, I'll give him that. Like he's played left back. He's played centre back against City, and so I'll give him, and against Villa, I'll give him his credit. But yeah, he doesn't get back in to that side. Fourth goal was a penalty for Son. He hasn't missed a penalty actually in the last however many that he's taken for us. So that was pretty good to see, and nice for him to get in a goal. After his 2 assists, and here's a debate. Do you reckon he'd have given it to Richie if Richie had still been on the pitch?
I think he would have. Yeah, I think he would have. If it was Harry Kane, no. He 100% wouldn't have. But I think Sonny, he's just that type of captain, isn't he? He's all about motivating his team and motivating his players and his friends. So I 100% think he would. He's not, rightfully so. Harry Kane would have been like, I'm not on the score sheet. I'm getting on the score sheet. I'm going to put this away. But Sonny's a different type of. And anyway, Kane wasn't really our captain anyway, was he? It was Lloris when he was around. So
yeah, and that was our first ever penalty since Harry.
Mate, I put it out on Twitter. Someone seemed to have a go at me about something today, and it was about decisions and us getting a load of decisions. And I was like, I seem to. If you look, and it's ironic because I said we're the only team this season, or one of the only teams yet especially in the top 6 or 7, yet to receive a penalty. I said, so let's talk about that, and then obviously we're going to win a penalty today. So,
but I mean, there's a difference between decisions and there's a difference between definite penalties.
But what I will say is, I think it was a bit silly from Dubravka, but I think Sonny won that penalty more than anything. I will say that.
And he deserved it. Last thing I want to talk about from today's game is Christian Romero, because he had a good game. There was times when he decided he was going to play central midfield. He thought he'd roam into the 10 role. I thought he was going to hit a few from outside the box. But how he didn't get sent off for his tackle...
I don't feel comfortable talking about this.
...on Callum Wilson, I will never know. Because he not only stamps on him, but then he boots the other leg of Callum Wilson with his trailing foot. Like, what is wrong with him?
I'm going to be controversial here. I don't think it's a red. I don't think it's a red card.
I think it's red all day long.
And but I'll give my reasonings, and again, people can disagree with me all they want to. I think yes, he's very, very silly to steam into that tackle, but he didn't like. What I'm trying to say is, Callum Wilson is on the floor. Callum Wilson has nicked the ball away just before Romero gets there. He's still on the floor. So he's not, you know what I mean? He's not as if he's trying to make any intentions to run off with the ball and Romero's come steaming into him. He's still on the floor. So he's just nicking the ball away for whatever reason. And Romero has gone in to, you can see he's gone in to get the ball. He's literally gone in to get the ball. And because Callum Wilson's nipped it away for no reason, he's gone in and caught him, and he's caught him on his ankle. And I get why I get why people think, but again, I had this debate with someone today, and I think it's because his reputation is what it is, and people will want to get him sent off because he has such a bad reputation.
Yeah.
But some of the tackles, obviously, there's been a lot of red card incidents that have happened and haven't been red cards since he got sent off against Chelsea, and I'm talking about the Premier League, not just Tottenham.
Yeah.
There was one in the Arsenal game, about a week or so ago. There's been probably at least 5 or 6
pretty similar incidents.
Yeah, and none of them have been red cards.
Yeah.
So what precedent are we saying? Are we saying because it's Romero that it happens? And there was one as well yesterday, I think it was, where someone's cleared the ball, gone through, and caught someone on the ankle, and they've said, "Oh yeah, well he's only clearing the ball." Well, that's what Romero was doing against fucking Chelsea. So I think he's just got. He does what I will say. He does need to be. He needs to just be a bit more calm, because
I think he just gets bored.
Possibly. I mean, we were 3-0 up at the time, so I don't know what his problem was. But look, it was silly. He didn't need to do it whatsoever. But me personally, I still don't think it's a red card, because I think a red card has to be something that you've literally gone in to try and kill someone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I can see it from both sides. I think he was lucky, but
I think he was lucky given the rules and the way football is going currently. I think he was very, very lucky. But in my heart of hearts and how football is usually, I don't think it's anywhere near a red card. But
no, fair enough. Let's move on and talk about our score predictions for this game. Because as I said earlier,
you're gagging to talk about this, aren't you? Because I don't know, but off the top of my head, I think, are you the only person to get some points?
That's a spoiler alert, people. Let's talk about that, because nobody got any points during the West Ham game. But for the Newcastle game, Harry predicted a 3-2 Newcastle win. Yeah. Alan predicted a 3-3 draw. You predicted a 2-2 draw. Dave predicted a 2-2 draw, and I predicted a 3-2 Spurs win. So you are correct. I am the only person to get any points. It may only be 1 point, but it does mean that I extend my lead at the top of the leaderboard to now 16
looking pretty, is it?
points. Walking away with it, to be quite honest. I've got double the amount of Dave and Callum got. It's just one of those things, isn't it? But we keep moving, and you've got now 4 points to catch up on me, but you're the closest person that there is. But
it can change in one game week, mate. It can literally change quickly.
Yeah, definitely. I was lucky, to be fair, that that no one got any points against West Ham either. But I'm just going to say that's what I get for not being such a pessimist like the rest of you, and being optimistic about these things.
I was being a realist,
anyway,
not a pessimist.
Yeah, definitely. Let's move on again and talk about this Wednesday night, because this Wednesday night, me and Winnie are back. On the YouTube channel, and we'll be back for our EA FC 24 stream, which we have called Feliz Navidad. A little shout out to Feliz in Spurs, and also shout out to Christmas itself. And we play a bit of co-op FIFA online against other random people, and we're doing our best to make it fun and interesting. There's lots of little games that we play alongside of us playing, which makes it fun, because obviously the opponents have no idea what we're doing. Last week we had to do things such as only score with chip shots, only score with volleys, that kind of thing. So we try and make it as fun as possible. So if you're into esports, or you're not sure if you're into esports, check it out. We are working on getting a camera, so you'll be able to see probably Winnie as well, as we play, to make it a little bit more interactive. But if you've enjoyed it, and a few of you have, then make sure you're tuning in. And if you're not sure, tune in, stick it on, while you're making your dinner, or stick it on while you're, going to bed, as Jay did apparently. But
we all put you to sleep,
it's 8:30. It's 8:30 p.m. on Wednesday night. It will be our last show probably before Christmas, I would imagine, unless we can figure out another time.
Yeah.
But one other little announcement for you. So as I said before, thank you to Barney. Saying looking forward to watching you guys.
Appreciate that, Barney.
But Callum will be here next week, hosting the roundup show for the Nottingham Forest game. He'll be hosting the show. And we are going to be having a Christmas quiz on the 23rd of December. So if you're into Christmas, you're into Spurs, or you're into quizzes, join along. We'll make it interactive, so so that everyone can play along and you can write your answers in the comment section, that kind of thing. Keep track of your scores. We'll do all that kind of thing. And we are going to be joined by the brilliant Holly Agambar for that show as well. So she'll be on taking part.
I'm gutted I'm missing it, mate. I'm gutted.
Yeah, so it should be fun. I'll dig out me Spurs trivia thing, and there will be everybody in some form of Christmas attire as well. So if you're into Christmas, then definitely join in. What's happening here? Martin said, now the TV camera is in the west stand, I cannot get used to the Park Lane being on the right of my TV.
Okay, I've not even noticed that, to be honest.
No, but interesting. Thank you very much, Martin. Make sure you're subscribing to the channel. Right. Okay. Let's crack into this and talk about Nottingham Forest, because on Friday night we have a game against Nottingham Forest. Some would say, why are we playing on a Sunday night and then straight into a Friday night?
We're not Jurgen Klopp, so we won't moan about it.
Exactly, or cry about it on national television. That was absolutely mental. But I would say, who cares? Winnie, what are your thoughts leading up to that game? Obviously off the back of a win, you've got to be pretty excited.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely more positive, and I think I would have been anyway. But I was just, excuse me, I was just looking up their recent form, and I mean, obviously they drew to Wolves, but then they've got battered by Fulham, lost to Everton, lost to Brighton, lost to West Ham, lost to Liverpool. They don't look in great form, so it's definitely a game that for me we should blow them away if we play the football we've been playing as of late. And I know obviously our results have looked just as poor as theirs. But I mean, I'm not a Forest fan, so I don't watch them. But I would say that our football has probably arguably been a lot better than theirs has in those games. So look, I think I don't really know with this Ange side, because previous sides you've gone, look, Tottenham. I know one year we looked absolutely dog shit at home, but really good away. And then another year we were absolutely dog shit away and looked really good at home. I can't work out what this Ange team is, whether we're a team that thrives under our own stadium or whether you like playing away from home. I don't really know just yet, but it's definitely a game that I would expect us to go and win, and that's just being brutally honest. So I'm definitely more positive now that we've got a win under our belt. I wouldn't like to have gone away there having still not won a game in 5 games. So I feel like the pressure might be off the guys a little bit more, and they can go and be a bit more expansive.
Yeah, definitely, mate. That's it. And the only thing that big up to Harry Scarf in the chat. Hope you get better soon, mate. The only thing that kind of gives Nottingham Forest anything in this game, and I mean anything, is that they're playing at home. Their home form is better than their away form. Last season they were awful away from home. The only thing is that they're playing at home. But if you look at the form table, it's pretty even, right?
Yeah,
we've got 3 losses, 1 draw, and a win. They've got 4 losses and a draw.
Exactly.
But when you look at Nottingham Forest, the amount that they've spent, I think that this could be the end of Steve Clarke's. Is that fella's name? Steve Clarke, something like that.
I think so.
His management at Nottingham Forest, because I can't see Nottingham Forest getting anything out of this game. I can't see him, scoring against us. I think that we'll run them ragged all night. I think yes, there may be a low block, but if you decide Steve Cooper, that's it. Sorry, Steve Cooper.
Nice one, H. Thank you. We've got such elite ball knowledge, haven't we?
Oh yeah.
Because I was like, yeah, I think that's it.
Hey, he's some fella who I've never seen before, apart from until he went to Nottingham Forest. I think he's like some championship manager. Anyway, who cares? Yeah, I think that we will run them ragged all night. I don't see him scoring. I see us scoring a couple. I think even if they set a low block, I think he'll play Richarlison. I think that Richarlison should get a tune out. I think he won't change the starting lineup.
No, I will say, I know traditionally we can't beat a low block, and we struggle to kind of beat West Ham's low block because they are the champions of Europe. Let's not forget that. Champions of Europe, you'll never singing that to the first British team or the first English team. Sorry, the first English team to win a European, not the first British, but the first English team to win a European trophy. So that makes a load of sense. But yeah, I think with Kulu in the 10, Richarlison in the middle, and Sonny out wide, I think we will be able to pick off a low block more than we have been able to in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, definitely, and that kind of leads us on to our score predictions.
It's only me and you, so I haven't got any time. I haven't got anyone else to buy.
I'll give you some time. Don't worry.
I'll
start off with Callum. So for those of you that that weren't here at that point, Callum gave in his score prediction, and he went for a 2-1 Spurs win. I've just had Harry Scarfs, so he has gone for, before I get this wrong, a 1-1 draw.
Oh, okay.
So 1-1 for Harry Scarf. I'm just writing this all down. Winnie, what are you going for?
I am going for a 3-1 Tottenham win. I have to give every team a goal. I think that's just a given, even more so in this side because we're just too attacking.
Do you know what? I could match your scores every week just to stay ahead, but I'm not going to do that.
Why not?
I'm going to go for a 3-0 Spurs win. I don't think we'll concede against Forest. So we will wait for Dave's score, which I'll get off him as soon as I can. And then we'll post them all out on the socials before the game, and you guys can stay up to date with that. But I think that I just think will be too much for him. I think Decky, again, if he plays in the number 10 role, I think he'll be fantastic there. I think that it's taken a while for this Spurs team to get back into the groove. We all said that they had Harry especially had a poor pre-season, right?
Yeah.
And then they got started off well in the Premier League. Then we've had all these injuries, and now we've kind of come back, re-energized, and this team is slowly kind of learning how to perform together with those key players missing. So, I personally think that this will be the turnaround that we need.
Do you know what, though? What I would like to say, and maybe again, I will just say our women have just gone 3-0 down to Man United. So that doesn't look pretty. So obviously, like you say, we had a poor pre-season. We hit the ground running, and then we had a bit of a purple patch. But again, people may disagree, but correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think there was ever a period where I've looked at us and gone, we look really, really shit. I think in all those games, we've looked, obviously, the patch we had at the start of the season where we was winning, we obviously looked good because we was winning. But even in those winless in 4 games, we were still playing well from what I can think of anyway. So I just don't, like I said, I don't think there's been a patch where I've been worried because I always knew that the performances have been okay and the results will come with it. Yeah, to be fair, that's a very good point by H. And I did say that earlier, that Wolves was probably the first time we've looked really, really bad and outplayed. But I can accept one off week every now and then. So yeah, I don't think I've been concerned, and I think like I say, we can go to Forest and pick them apart and do the same as to what we've done to Newcastle today. I don't see why we couldn't do that as well.
Definitely, mate. Right. Let's move on then and talk about FPL.
No, we don't need to talk about FPL today.
H, do you know what? I'm glad that you are now completely turned into an Ange lover, because that's just everything that I need in my life. Yes, let's talk very briefly about FPL, because Jay did mention it at the start. I'll scroll all the way to the beginning because he was so early. Jay said he scored 47 points with bonus points still to be added. So
That's good. That's good.
Harry Scarf said he hates FPL. Let's talk through, because we haven't actually got the updated table. So I'll talk about the table as of last night, just to keep everybody aware of my scores today. I scored approximately...
Mate, you scored 51 overall.
51 points. So that was decent. Apart from, I used to have my vice captain as Son. I stupidly haven't changed it from when it was Nicholas Jackson from a few weeks ago. So he got me a lovely 1 point, which will now be my captain, I assume, because Haaland didn't play. But
No.
as of last night, Brainy Paul is the leader by 3 points at the top of the league, 899. Dave is on 896. Shan Mohit, with a brilliant name of Eric 10 Sagaloo, which I quite like, on 890. And then we move to the hosts. I am in 9th with 828 points. Winnie, yesterday you got 3 points.
Mate, absolute stinker. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to talk about FPL today. I've made some changes, by the way. I'll talk about that after you've done your reading.
You're on 823. Harry Scarf has now jumped ahead of Callum, because Callum yesterday got 0 points.
Yeah, but do you know why?
Why?
So he's got Van der Ven in there. He's got Mitchell, who's injured. He's got Maddison, who's injured. He's got De Bruyne, who's injured. He's got Haaland in there. Is that he obviously hasn't changed his team.
Ramsdale, who doesn't play. Lascelles got him -1. And I don't know who his striker is.
Who is it? Let me see. Who's he got?
Chermiti.
Never heard of him.
No, never heard of him. So Harry Scarf is in 12 points with 767 points. And then Callum is on 745. Thomas, if you're listening back, he recently joined, so he's actually only on 20 points, sadly. So I think, unfortunately, Thomas, you are going to finish bottom, because you're on 20 and the next person above you is on 720. So we'll keep up to date with that, because if Steve Riffamato, who's on 720, doesn't finish second bottom, finishes bottom, then there's got to be something.
The biggest bottle since Arsenal of last year.
Yeah, exactly. And Harry Scarf has already made 4 changes to his FPL, so we'll start on many minus points. Right, so that kind of wraps us up for today.
Can I just say what FPL changes I've made?
Oh yeah.
So I've took the plunge and took Haaland out of my side, because I think everyone has Haaland.
Yeah.
So I've tried to be a bit different, but it's also made it better for me in a way, because obviously he is so much money. So I've took Haaland out of my team, and with the Haaland money, I've been able to. I think I had about 1.5 mil in the bank. So I've took Haaland out, and I've managed to get Trent, I've managed to get Salah, and I've managed to get Solanke, but I think he's in a bit of form at the moment as well. So
yeah,
I think that's a good change for Haaland. You know, take out Haaland and bring in Trent, Salah, and Solanke. So Barney Raul, I've put him in as well. He's on my bench. Annoyingly, I didn't put him in this week, and he scored. But he's on my bench, so he may make an appearance.
Amazing. Right, before we end this show, do have a bit of sad news to let everybody know about. So, unfortunately, at the end of the season, Mr. Harry Scarf will be leaving the channel. We've absolutely loved having Harry on this channel and watched him grow as a content creator. Harry's a young man who's been absolutely brilliant ever since he came on this channel. He has decided to now, the right time to leave the channel. He will be leaving at the end of the season. So you've still got quite a lot to go on. So we do wish Harry the best of luck with whatever he goes on to with his own channel and everything else. But just wanted to give a big shout out to Harry. So
yeah, it definitely won't be the last you hear of him. He'll be, in years to come, he'll definitely be like a household name, I would imagine, especially amongst the Tottenham community.
Definitely. And if you did join this channel just to watch Harry Scarf, don't be a dick. Keep watching, because he'll be back on at some other point, and you can enjoy the rest of us. Thank you very much. But no, in all seriousness, Harry has been brilliant, and as I said, he's got a lot on school and other things like that, and so commitments get in the way, and it's been brilliant having Harry on, and will be until the end of the season. But anyway, that kind of wraps us up. As I said, we'll have there's some shout outs to Harry on here. So Harry said, thank you for your kind words, both of you. Really enjoyed my time. And Barney said, always, Harry, you've been amazing on this show. Harry, definitely a household name for the future. And David Clark, and Harry who? Exactly. Harry. That's what we think of you, Harry. Anyway, to wrap up, we do have some shows coming up. So Wednesday night, 8:30, we've got the FIFA stream on the channel. Again, sorry about the links, but the link will only come out exactly at the right time. So keep an eye on our socials. Keep the bell on for YouTube and things like that. Yep. Next Sunday, we have 7 p.m. We have our normal show. Callum will be hosting the show. The following Saturday, we won't be on the following Sunday. We have our Christmas quiz, and that'll be it until the new year, because we fall on a Sunday night. It falls Christmas Eve and then New Year's Eve, so I won't bore you all over Christmas. Enjoy your Christmases and all the rest of it, and we'll be back in the new year. If
we can maybe move the quiz to the Friday, we'll work on that one.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do. I just want to thank everybody that's tuned in today, because it's been absolutely incredible, some of the comments we've had. And I want to thank everybody for your continued support, because every week we come on here, we do see the same people. I want to shout out David Clark for today, Barney, Jay, Johnny, Thomas, because he'll watch back. Harry's jumped in as well. Everybody that's jumped in and commented. Anybody that's watched and not commented as well, shout out to you as well. We do see you. David's going to go to Walkabout on Friday, so we'll win. So
fair enough.
That's good. Stay away, David, and come back and let us know how your night was, because that sounds good. And invite us next time to Walkabout. Anyway, Winnie, how can everybody find you?
Winnie1991 on Twitter. Obviously, if you see anything I tweet, just reach out to me, and we can have a good chat. And obviously, like I say, tune in on Wednesday for our FIFA stream. Any ways we can improve it, it's the first time we've ever done it, and we're just kind of going off an idea that other people do. So if there are any ways you think we could, we obviously try to amend it slightly on the last stream and made it absolutely fucking impossible for ourselves, but we'll just continue to develop that and just let it grow organically, and hopefully you guys seem to like it, or the select few that tune in regularly for us, so we do appreciate that. And like I say, tune in for that on Wednesday.
Yeah, definitely. And I think once we complete this season of it and we move on, like next time we'll think of some different ideas. It may not just be Spurs, there might be some other ideas.
What I will say is, in the pipeline is we also have, again, let us know, anyone listening or listening post, obviously live, let us know what you think about a special Pro Clubs edition. So we've got some, it won't be, unfortunately, it'll just be me and Luke from the show, but we've got, a set of friends who also play Pro Clubs. So we could do a special Pro Clubs edition if you let us know what you think about that.
Yeah, definitely. And what a way to end. It will grow naturally now Harry's gone. He's still here. He's not gone yet.
No, he's still stuck with us.
Yeah, exactly. If you want to follow me, you can follow me, Luke_Park Lane. But more importantly, follow this channel. Go follow Harry as well, Scarfy Spurs Talk. But more importantly, go and follow Park Lane Podcast. We are a small channel. We are trying to grow as much as we can. Make sure you Spotify users are trying to fight these Apple Music users, not physically, but get subscribing, get liking, listen all the way through as well, because it really does help us out. And hopefully we'll be back next Sunday to talk about another Spurs win. But until next time, a massive come on you Spurs.
Come on you Spurs.